aware about the amount of videos Deepwoken has about all its crappy mechanics, how bad this is, how bad that is. I'm here to try and provide as general of a synopsis on it as I can, as well as just rant about my issues personally, and maybe share some really interesting articles I've picked up along the way. I think first we'll start out with so here we have Exhibit A. Let me try and find. I'm sorry this is taking so long. Here. Never mind. I mean, honestly, Bolt Crusher in general is just really stupid. Not only is he doing 7% in M1, I only healed that back because, maybe Conditioned Runner, I think. He just put, yeah, it was because of Conditioned Runner, because he just put me in combat. But, that crit, it did how much? Extended knockdown. Not only can you do the little, what was it called? The Shadow Roar tech, that you just look away and then land the last hit. It's basically just Ash Slam that does half a bar. Because the game needed that, apparently. And then there's not only Pale Briar, but mantras in general. Which, let's just see this. So, not only is Reversal Flame Scourge, it does that a couple times when you're midair, which is really stupid. It should be strongest in the air, because it brings them over to you. But, stuff like that happens, where he gets hit, but the hit stun doesn't apply, and as a matter of fact, he gets priority as well as damage and healing. Because apparently they don't know how to make it cancel on hit, or something. And it's been like that since it came out. And then there's Flame Grab, which just does a whole, I think it happens somewhere in this fight. Oh my gosh, I suck at this, I'm so sorry. Ah, here it is. So, ever since like a month ago, I've noticed the animations just completely suck. Half the time they don't play, especially if you just load in, and then stuff like this can happen, where he goes to swing, but he queues up a mantra. Oh, it's after that. Like he goes to swing, queues up a mantra, you see he's gray casting, but it still lands despite me being out of the range of his weapon's actual sprite. And then here's something really stupid with Flame Grab. He's over here, his hand is there. It's his hand, that's his arm. It's extended out in front of him. Did that look like it made contact with me? I don't care if you have a stupid wide hitbox, that doesn't make any sense if it's your hand. How is his hand grabbing me from all the way over there? And then there's this Cripplet one. So I can actually demonstrate this one in game. And it's not like it's this new bug that's been around. No, it's a fundamental core of the Deepwoken gameplay that's just completely messed up. And these arbitrary range values and swing speed values is a huge problem with the balancing of Deepwoken, because, I mean, you can see some I wanted to... That's a huge gap, and the flourish there. Look at how far I am. That's my leg. How does that make any sense? Oh, but uppercuts have 6 range, because that's just how it's fair. Even though, so, like, they have these kind of I know why this is in the game, and it's because you can be mobile, running around your enemy, doing your dashes, it's generally a movement-based PvP system, where if you have better speed, like, that's why obfuscation is such a... I don't have it on me. That's why obfuscation is such a broken enchant, because it just lets you circle around your enemies, completely hiding your animations in your movement. Because these new running animations, nobody asked for them, one. And two, it just makes it easier to hide animations, which the devs are against, funnily enough, even though their game is a read-based game. They made, like, I don't have it on me. The big alchemist hat and shade seekers were added also that animation hiding would be more meta. Because apparently knowing what my enemy is doing just isn't fun to the devs. Who in the community asked for the ability to be able to hide your animations? Was anyone asking for that? Or was that just some arbitrary little, oh, it's not fun, that the devs just thought up and thought that we would have to enjoy it because they're the devs? Like, seriously. And then there's this stigma that heavy weapon equals heavy damage. High swing speed equals big damage. Oh, 50 per M1. I'm not even a spec'd heavy build. Like, if I was on a build that's made for heavy, I'd be doing a bar per M1. All because, the swing speed's hard. The swing speed's, oh, so yeah, swing speed. Like, explain to me, point me to the, any instance ever in which a heavy weapon combo has been any worse than a medium weapon combo due to the heavy swing speed. I mean, you can still feint, you can still mantra feint. Their M1s function as a roll catch due to the massive range. It's just not fair. Like, if he rolls that, I can just W key into wherever he's going. And then heaven forbid he try to punish me for missing my M1 because I have hyper armor. Okay, here we have another exhibit of how bad these hitboxes are. You see that distance. I know you see that distance between me and the dummy. I kicked it. I kicked it from over here. I kicked it from over here. And then there's this Railblade crit reskin. I don't have a Railblade on me, damn it. But, I mean, seriously, the Great Maul is no different from a mace in make and model. Like, it's just a slightly bigger mace because they wanted to add something for heavy weapons that would substitute the gutting that they did to Railblade, because they regretted Railblade, but going back and undoing the nerfs would just make them seem indecisive and like they don't know what they're doing. So instead, they decided that we needed a Railblade reskin that just does everything the Railblade did, except better. I mean, it doesn't have hyper armor, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you can M1 extend with a crit. If it weren't for the unlock. And, again, with the animations. You saw that. And then there's the heavy weapon uppercut. With the Vanta Black disgusting all black quote unquote drip. It feels disgusting even calling it that. That is the meta currently. Black is notorious for completely ridding humans of depth perception. I think you know what I'm insinuating. It couldn't have been, like... Okay, the concept of uppercuts in general is just a ripoff from ABA, I think. I never played ABA, I'm probably wrong about that. And then, Side note, Curse Cleave does bleed damage, but katanas, which are historically known for they're powerful because they cause big lacerations on the body. They have such a long blade, which gives wide, striking ability. You cut deep across their chest, and it leaves an incision that is not going to be patched because it's so massive, and you're gonna bleed out and die within minutes. Why doesn't katana do bleed damage? I don't know. It has penetration, even though it's a slashing attack, because apparently slashes penetrate armor. But these hitboxes, they make it so the hitbox is a separate part in Roblox Studio from the weapon model, which doesn't make any sense, because I could just do things like this and hit them anyways, and deliberately, if they're parrying when I'm N1ing, I can just... Hold on. I can just delay the swing until they would either get a block or they were on shaky block, so it'll just... And then we have Rising Frost. Okay, so... He hit me with Rising Frost. You see my TP log? That means it teleported me. Rising Frost teleported me to him. You know what they nerfed Rising Flame for? Its ability to teleport you. You want to know why that happened? Because of Eclipse Kick. It was Eclipse Kick that was broken, not Rising Flame. It was Eclipse Kick that was completely unavoidable if you were teleported to it. But you want to know what you can still do? Get teleported. You can still get teleported. I mean, if you were to use Eclipse Kick right after, I have Frost on me, I would have been forced to either parry that with its dumb timing, because, long windup equals high damage because hard hit, even though it has hyper armor and can help you escape any sort of combo you're caught in. And it does 2 bars. Here's another exhibit of the heavy weapon. The problem is that you can move while you are attacking, and your enemy can move while you attack them. Yes, hit stun slows you, but it doesn't do it sufficiently enough to the point where you can sit there and M1 them and they will be forced to parry. No, they can S key out of your M1 chain if you stand still. You can always just say, well, W key. Oh, they get punished for S keying. Instead of punishing me for a vector of motion that is a part of the base gameplay, how about you make it impossible to perform said action that needs punishing? S keying is still powerful. You can still move to the side, and you won't be backpedaling. You won't be draining of ether, and you'll be actually faster if you just turn off your shift lock, because you'll be running. But no, S keying just needs to drain your tempo. How does that make sense? This at a fundamental level is a copy of a majority of Dark Souls From Software games. You want to know what From Software does to fix this? You're unable to move while you are attacking. If you press the M1 button, you're locked in your position. You can turn your camera right as your swing starts, but you can't do this. Well, you can't do this kind of funky, I would be able to, and then that's it. I would just be able to turn my camera just a bit. I mean, you can still turn your camera, but your M1 doesn't follow with it. I mean, you can just look up a bit of Elden Ring gameplay or Sekiro gameplay. You will see what I mean. But he and I, we can just do this. Because this needs to be possible. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna copy all of the bad aspects of Sekiro and Dark Souls, and then everything good is just gonna go out the window. No more balancing. Light weapon and any attunement, really. I mean, look. He can just swing. Next 5 frames, his attack lands. I can't do anything about it, because if you're on anything less than 50 milliseconds of ping, you're going to be predict parrying a light weapon, because you can't react to it because it's so fast. And then they have Gale, which, like, 90% of the mantras are M1 extenders. Gale Lunge, Heavenly Wind is unpunishable, and it's got an alternating hitbox timing because of the distance that is the potential distance gap. There's Rising. They just buffed Rising Wind for no reason. His the Wind Carve. Wind Carve decays after you parry it after the first 3 hits. Doesn't matter when it can be as big as an Ash Slam. Do potentially more damage. It's instantly feintable. It has no end lag, despite being probably faster than Gale Lunge for its wind up. And then they all do insane damage. That was how much? 12%. They didn't change the damage for that at all. That's the same amount as it would have done. And look at that. Look at that. He parries the next hit after my Shattered crit, which, by the way, Fireblade is a reskinned Shattered Katana crit, but Shattered Katana doesn't block break. And there's, like, I don't even need to say anything about that. This is the dumbest timing ever. And it's the projectiles. Every projectile in the game has a multi-hit function in one way or another. Fireforge is probably the worst projectile because of this. It converges on a point in front of you rather than fanning out as soon as you use it. So if you try and use it, you can't aim it without taking into account that convergence, which makes it impossible to land if your enemy is in front of you and able to move. So this is because it just, like, it grows to the size of a single hitbox for each of the daggers in that instance when it converges. If I have a guy right here and I throw it right here, I'm lucky if that happens. But that's only like 12 damage. I mean, it's probably the worst roll catch in the game despite being projectile, which most other projectiles, Wind Gun, Grand Javelin, Shadow Gun, which is completely broken in its own right. I mean, all multi-hit attacks are broken in one way or another because you have the potential of parrying one and not parrying the others and still taking 90% of the damage that you would, despite having parried it. This is seen with Shadow Gun especially because you can parry the first hit, and then if you try and roll, you'll have some delay to your roll due to lag or otherwise, and the next 10 hits will do damage to you, and it'll more or less do full damage. The point of the spark is to sacrifice, the point of the multi-hit spark is supposed to sacrifice posture damage for actual damage, which it doesn't do because it still block breaks consistently. It doesn't confirm, but it does do, like, if I was on anything other than a bar of posture or lower, it is guaranteed to block break. Even then, if I'm caught in the middle where most of them will hit me, it'll block break. And it's another one of those, oh, high windup equals high damage mantras. Why? High windup equals unpredictability and mix-ups. That should be your incentive to pick up the mantra, not the 1 bar potential. Same with Eclipse Kick. It should just be a mix-up. It shouldn't be this, like, Eclipse Kick isn't good because it isn't good if you take away the damage. If you take away the 2 bars damage that it does, it's just garbage because of its high windup. You can, the only reason people have it is because they have stupid text to confirm it with, like either getting comboed and then you just throw it out and they can't do anything about it because the animation probably didn't play because the animations for being hit are overlapping it, or you just don't have the, like, where was I? Oh yeah, and then there's the fact that 90% of mobility mantras are completely unpunishable. Well, not 90%. Some of them definitely are. The assault moves, they stop once you parry them. That's the only, that's where it ends though. Heavenly Wind, oh. Here's another exhibit. You can check it out right now if he doesn't get one combo. I don't think he's on his servers. Oh, there we go. He hit me with 2 mantras and an M1. Look at my health. So, not only is he doing this level of damage, he also is probably tankier than anyone I've ever fought before. Alright. We all saw that. Alright. That was like the perfect example of the unbalanced nature of Deepwoken. They have these multi-hit mantras, such as Caltrops, Ether Barrage, that if you parry them, I mean, which I didn't because I was never even able to see it coming. Reason being, Caltrops doesn't have a wind-up animation that you can notice, or a wind-up sound effect that you can notice. I mean, if you're using a mantra, you're not going to hear the little iron cling over the Caltrop sound effect. That's just because it's probably one of the quietest wind-ups in the game. On top of that, it did a bar. Everything he did at least half a bar. He hit me with 2 M1, or like 1 M1 and 2 mantras, and I was 20%. Or, no, 60%. I was 20% down. Compare that to my combo where I was M1ing mantra, M1 mantra. I got plenty of stuff off. I doubt that even got him to half, considering it was half of my moveset. Why? Because apparently Iron Sing mantras are quote-unquote hard to land. If you ask the devs. Yeah, Caltrops is just difficult to land. If you're not locked into the point where you could notice the hairs on his head sway in the wind, like, and count them, you're not going to notice him winding up his mantra as you're trying to combo him. Because it's just so unnoticeable. At the very least, all of these verse 1 mantras have, like, that's not a verse 1 mantra, but they have sound effects, they have animations. Caltrop is, you just give yourself a hug, and I don't even know how to describe the sound that it plays, because it's so quiet. It's like a mouse squeaks. You have just a mouse in your little shirt lapel, and it squeaks when you hug it. But it's like you're squeezing it so hard that it can barely get that squeak out. You know? This neon green glow stick I have on me at all. Oh, shoot. This neon green glow stick I have on me at all times. Because apparently you just can't have it be Azure Flames color. For what reason? I don't know. Ask... wasn't it Yayafino that added this? I would explain its jankiness. Please, no squiggle. I'm dead. It's a Fury Squibbo. I'm just gonna wait 10... Oh! There's no way I'm fighting that thing without a block break. It's just not happening. Especially since I'm a mage build. Which is another thing. Mage builds do more damage than M1 builds per mantra. And they have regular M1 damage. Like, it's not over the top like a M1 spec build would be, like me. I mean, a Hero Blade, fully scaled, does 4% 4 less damage than I do. Not percent. It does, I think they have 10 pen. But another problem with the attunement for the exact attunement Hero Blade of Rising Flame. Oh shoot. It teleports you on the crit into Meteor Slam. Even if you parry it. It doesn't cancel on parry. You know what else cancels? Every multi-hit attack should realistically cancel on parry. Either it doesn't cancel on parry and you can get priority off of it because you're in iframes and you can just M1 through it, or it doesn't cancel on parry and you can't M1 through it because it doesn't have auto parry frames because it's just what the devs decided to have it as. Which is, again, completely arbitrary and makes no sense. Like, why should I be able to M1 through the Gatling gun, but not through the little shadow gun, the gun of shadow? Why does one let me? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. If you think about it fundamentally, it has no consistency whatsoever. Again, with the range, it's just they try and keep it at a regular level for all medium weapons. Like, all of these are 8, 9. This one's 9, even though it's literally a whip. And you don't even use it like a whip. You're supposed to crack whips. This one just extends. It just extends, which makes no sense, because it's a whip. You're supposed to crack whips. But it's all consistent, even though their animations and hitboxes aren't. Like, their sprite, what their hitbox should be, isn't consistent. I shouldn't be getting hit from, like, half a foot away to where their blade was just because it's balanced. No, I shouldn't need that range because he shouldn't be able to move around while I'm attacking him. It should be, like, seriously, why? When I'm being attacked, why do I have access to my full range of motion? I should have to fight back. That's why parry trading is completely paling in comparison to sustain builds. It's all passive. All the gameplay is passive. You rarely see a top 250 parry trading because it's just not worth it. It's easier to stay out of range because you get to stay out of range. You don't have to parry trade him. It's a whole core fundamental mechanic of the game, and you don't have to do it. Why? You have to parry in Sekiro, which is what this is based off of. Why can't I just be across the map and then zone in when I want to, and then punish him for trying to push me because I have all these AoE mantras? I don't know. Because parry bots! The dang parry bots, this is all their fault for parrying like they're supposed to. No! Can't have that! Seriously. Alright, the rant's over once I leave the depths, which is in 5 minutes. Actually, I've run out of things to rant about. I'm gonna get onto the grooming allegations. Yeah, you heard that right. Grooming allegations. And they add survival mechanics. And then they add complete caveats to said survival mechanics. Restores. This is a roguelike game. If I'm playing Binding of Isaac and I lose, I die, or I win, or whatever, I just can't continue playing. I reach the end screen. I'm not going to be able to pay $5 to continue playing on that character because it's about starting again. Why do I get to pay 1,000 Robux to restart my character? Because the devs are greedy and they want money over a fun game. And then for some reason they have this, like, sometimes they just completely reset the cooldowns for restores. Why? Money. That's the only... Oh, that's the only explanation. Because if it was a roguelike, they wouldn't care for that. They wouldn't care for letting you restart. Because it's a roguelike. Restarting's the whole point. They wouldn't care for letting you restart on the same character with the same stuff, is what I mean. And there's so many caveats to prevent you from wiping. The layer 2's void. And, like, seriously, the only reason Vision Shaper Realm was removed because it was good in PvE. That's the main reason why everything got reworked in the first place. Silent Heart. It was too good for PvE. They didn't want to rework it to the point where it could be the same moveset, yet still bad in PvE. No, they just had to completely make it even worse than it was before. Vision Shaper. Instead of maybe reworking Illusory Realm to not allow you to be knocked, inside of it. No, they just gone entirely. Instead, you get to die to the void. For them to not be able to get knocked in the first place inside of Illusory Realm. That was so completely and utterly arbitrary. It was just an ass pull from one of the devs. They just said, hey, you know what would be cool? Not being able to die in this cheesy little mantra. And that's what they did. But, like, I can think of a solution to make it better right now. If you knock the person who started the realm, it ends and teleports you back to where it was used. If you knock another person who wasn't the one who started the realm, you get to grip them inside the realm because they died, because they can't be saved anymore because they're inside the realm and not in the actual world. Does that not make sense? That helps you secure grips inside of a gank. Like, it would make boss rating. It would probably have revived boss rating, actually, because Reaper, you can cancel that. All of the other auto grip methods are cancelable, and if you don't pull them off correctly, it's just not going to work in your favor. If I'm able to run into the wall with a dead body and then grip him, that would make ganks so much easier for both parties. Like, you wouldn't have to spend half your time trying to fight for your buddy because he'd be dead already. He can already come back in. He can just respawn. If it's depths, he's wiped. He can come back on another slot if he wants. And you don't have to fight for a grip. That, like, winning should be winning. You're not. The concept of gripping doesn't even make sense anyways because your HP is 0. You're not dead. You got to be executed. You could be beaten to death for like 5 times in a row, and as long as you get back up again, you're not dead. That speaks for itself on the complete just miles of stupidity that went into the fundamental mechanics of Deepwoken. Everything wasn't thought out properly. They just threw stuff together because they thought it sounded fun. I can finally leave. Oh shit. Did they delete Warrior's Respite? Like, what's going on? Guys, am I wiped? I should have logged. Okay, time to wait another 10 minutes and log. Oh, never mind, 10 seconds. Okay. 4, 3, 2, 1. me home, country road, to the place I belong, West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country road. That's probably not the lyrics, but whatever. I need something to sing so I don't go insane. Oh yeah. Another mishap on the devs' part. Apparently you just respawn around the map now. They didn't even touch the respawning. To my knowledge. How does that, like, what? You just respawn around the map. Is it because they changed Erasia? They changed Erasia so they had to, like, change where you would be able to respawn or something? And that just completely got rid of the position saving when you log. Deepwoken devs are geniuses of their time. They have created one of the most amazing games on the Roblox platform with a limited coding language and limited resources, restricted to only what Roblox allows. And it's so amazing. And their skill is completely unparalleled to any dev on the platform. And they had a golden goose. No. Deepwoken was fundamentally garbage from the beginning. People were just having so much fun exploring this new world that they didn't care to see it. The venting mechanic. Tell me why I'm just able to get him off me whenever I want. Ooh, there's a cooldown. If you parry a vent, you have no punish. You just get to parry the other person just parried your vent. Good for them. Good on them, they parried the vent. Hooray. If you miss a vent, it has like 3 seconds of end lag. And your opponent can do whatever they want to you within those 3 seconds. Why doesn't parrying count as missing it? It's not like I took the vent's hit. I wasn't hit by the vent. I parried it. They should have the end lag. They should be punished for missing their OP combo breaker. But no, they're not. Why? The devs don't know how to balance. It's not even a matter of, oh, you need experienced game development skills to be able to understand how to fundamentally piece together new game mechanics. No, it's not even that. It's seriously just, they thought it sounded quote-unquote balanced. Because it's, like, you never even see these kind of mechanics in the games that their stuff is based off of. Never in Sekiro can I just get an enemy off me just by pressing a button. I have to actually time my parry. Never in Dark Souls can I get an NPC off of me by pressing a button. I have to actually time my roll. Oh my gosh, this is... That's completely unpredictable, unreadable, has no wind-up, just comes out as soon as they press their button. It shouldn't punish... It shouldn't just reset the fight. It should give me priority by still, like, affirming their end lag. As if they... Just like if they were to miss it. It doesn't do that! Why doesn't it do that? Cooked enough. Time to talk about the real issue. Issue. This is my script. I'm just gonna read off of it. That's the coping part done. I'd like to make light of a conversation I had in Deep General Chat earlier today, which also highlights the complete lack of moderation and generally the little amount of care that the mods and dev team have for the safety of this community. Let's just where's the open and new tab button? There is none. We can read off of it like this. And then the kids... Okay, so first some context. Let me find the starter. What started all this? This is the starting conversation. This is what I replied to. Straight guys make the best gays. This was in Deepwoken General, where children are. You imagine you as a 12-year-old boy say, you hear, straight guys make the best gays. That gets you thinking, maybe I'm gay. Maybe because I'm straight, I would be a good gay guy. I'm probably blowing that out of proportion. That's getting a bit too controversial for what this should be. I'm sorry. But it was just disgusting to see them talk about this kind of thing. And then the worst part, this is my point being made for me. I don't even have to say anything about it. Same energy as boys make the best girls. What does this mean? Average PM fan. Straight guys act more like gay guys than gay people sometimes. They are acting like this is a natural conversation topic to be having around potentially 13-year-olds. Explain to me why a 13-year-old needs to be talking about this kind of thing. Why this person's argument was that if they don't know about it when they're young, they're going to completely think it's not normal, even though it completely is. No, it's not. It's not normal. Never was creation intended to be man on man. It's man and woman. It's not normal. I'm pretty sure the Lord's word trumps this random Discord users, but whatever. Apparently that's offensive. You are basically pinning grooming onto LGBT. So what my argument was is that talking about this casually and like it's some just random conversation dinner table subject is that it's going to make it seem completely natural when an adult who has predatory intent comes along to that child and starts talking to them about these sexual topics. I don't know how I can be looked in the eyes and be told that's not how it is. They're just educating people because, oh, what if they grow up and hurt a random gay person's feelings? I think the risk of being groomed is a lot bigger than the risking your feelings being hurt when you're likely 20 years old. Anyways, I agree that adults asking kids about their preferences is weird. So they're affirming my point here, and then they're trying to argue against it. You're basically putting... I mean, they said priests were the issue. I never even mentioned priests. This wasn't about priests ever. This was about talking about sexual topics in the Deepwoken general community. That just so happened to be about sexual preference, which is a very common opener for predators to use when they try and groom victims. Hey, so do you like boys or girls? They're going to think that's completely natural if they're 12 years old and they're being an adult saying that to them, because that's what they talk about with their friends. They think that's normal. They think it's just a normal conversation topic, and that's the problem because it's a segue for predatory intent. And they try and pin it on the priests. Point to the priest in the Discord server general. I would like to shake his hand. I want to give him a handshake. I just like shaking people's hands. Point to the priest in the Deepwoken general. Introducing the concept is educating whether you like it or not. Do you think a 12-year-old should be educated on sex? Well, eventually, yeah, but not in this way. From a trusted adult, yeah. Not in their friend group. It should be something they see as adults doing, not as kids doing. Because this is a casual conversation. Because if they think kids can do it, that's why there's so many problems with most cultures in this world. Like, oh, children going out and... That's a whole nother topic. And then Roblox isn't a space for education on literally anything except for educational games. I wasn't arguing for education. I was arguing against bringing up and conversing about sexual topics in a Roblox game meant for kids. This doesn't mean that the mention of LGBT things was bad if it's warranted. Never, in any conversation with a child, should the mention of LGBT subjects be warranted. That is sexual. That involves sex. Never should you be mentioning sex with a child. That's as white and black as it gets. That's as plain out as it gets. That never, just don't do it. It should never be a warranted thing. If they bring it up, you dodge the question. That's something for their parents to answer, not you. Mentioning the concept of gayness is taking advantage of a child are so separate. I was never arguing for talking about LGBTQ being taking advantage of a child. I said it makes taking advantage of towards children a much easier thing to do. It simplifies the grooming process 10 times more. Like, if they already are pre-exposed to that kind of thing, They're going to think it's normal. I mean, if you are a kid who has grown up thinking sex is for adults, and an adult comes towards you saying, hey, do you like sex with boys or sex with girls? You're going to immediately know that's not something they should be talking with you about. But if you are in a group, a community, with people who are casually talking about liking boys and liking girls in a sexual manner, you are going to think that adult is completely normal for talking to you about sex, because it's what you talk to your friends about. It's so cut and dry, yet these people still try and argue for it. And the worst part, Exhibit C. This can't be posted because it contains blocked content by this server. Blocked content. Blocked content by this server. Blocked content by this server. Blocked content. Blocked content by the server. I give my applause to you, Archmage, senior moderators. You're doing such a good job at keeping the community safe. I can't even talk about Skibbity Toilet. You're such a justice warrior. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You've protected so many people with that. Oh, and then, like, I go to, what is it, Melonbeard. Does he have a don't ping rule? If I ping him, I'd probably get banned anyways. But any mod, like K1, Raguzer, Archmage, ping equals ban. They have it all in their usernames because their time is so important, so infinitely taken up by all of their duties and responsibilities that they just can't spare the time to speak with you. They just can't do it. It's too time consuming for them. No, you can't speak with the devs. You have a game breaking bugs report. Better put it in bug reports, the channel that we don't check. You want to know how I know this? You want to know how I know this? Go to bug reports. This has been going on for probably before 2025. I've seen this same guy talk about Silent Heart bugs since before it was even reworked. And then there's that, obviously, which should have been a very, very easy hotfix, but I guess their time is just so vastly consumed by all of their other responsibilities, cursed gear, that they just couldn't spare the time to actually fix their game that people paid for. That was just too out of the question for their responsibilities. Like, the only time you are able to ping a dev, anytime you see Archmage get pinged, it's because someone has a genuine question about the lore, and then he makes something up right there on the spot that makes absolutely no sense, is completely it just doesn't, it has no continuity with the lore, and he just makes it up right there. Also that he doesn't seem incompetent, and also that the players don't get the idea that the game was something that they just slapped together because it sounded fun, rather than actually in practice being a good thing to play. Rant's over, I've made my points.